Hey, my name is Henrik Booz, and I'm going to be your son or daughter's English literature HL2 teacher this year. Some of you may not have been able to make it to back to school night, so I figured I'd just do a short little video so you can see what's going on. If you could, there's a tiny URL right here, tinyurl.com/1920. It's obviously the 2019-2020 school year. Booz BTSN. So you can give me a little bit of information about your student, or if you want to tell me anything that you think is pertinent. These are the people who surround me in my life. My lovely wife Kelly on the left, my little girl Madeline, who's actually starting first grade this year. William, who sometimes wears a shirt and sometimes doesn't. He's a little preschooler, and then a little camping trip. So let me explain to you what's going on with your class, your students' class this year, and a little bit about myself. I actually you teach several classes here at Marshall. I'm also the CAS coordinator, which stands for Creativity, Activity, and Service for diploma candidates in the IB program. And then I teach after-school senior TOK in the fall, and in the spring I teach after-school junior TOK. And then every Tuesday night I teach online honors English 12 for Fairfax County as well. I was born in Fairfax Hospital, went to Fairfax Villa, where actually Mr. Axelrod's kids go. Lanier, Fairfax High School, like my sister, like my brother-in-law. My dad taught at Robinson. All four of my mother and all three of her brothers and sisters all attended different high schools in Fairfax County, even though they all lived on Gallows Road, so the boundaries have been shifting for a long time. My mom graduated from Annandale, and then I went really, really far away to UVA for both my BA and then a dual MAMT in secondary English education. So I've been teaching in Fairfax County for about 20 years. I've been part of the school system for, oh gosh, almost 38 years. So I kind of know the school system pretty well. I'm really proud to be at Marshall, and I love teaching your kids. First of all, what you guys can do, you have access to a parent view account in SIS. Sometimes your kids are looking at their grades too much, but you probably want to be able to keep track of that. You can also sign up for an observer account on Blackboard, which is the county's school-based technology platforms. And then if you need to, you can communicate with me. Oftentimes I'm going to ask you if your son or daughter, or if you talk to your son or daughter before that, just because in 12 months they're probably going to be in college, and I want to start helping them kind of be a little bit more proactive with their relationships. And they also have been sitting in class every day. So here we have simple objectives, but they're sometimes a little bit difficult for some people. Literary criticism is where we're trying to get the kids to think both in terms of a thesis and an antithesis about each one of the poems, plays, novels, pieces we read. We want them to disagree with one another and maybe work toward different viewpoints, different perspectives about the book. Clearly, we're going to be working on written and oral clarity, and in that vein, what we do every day in class is pretty much hold seminars. So there's a lot of open-ended questions. I try not to be very didactic and actually specifically tell them that there's an answer to a poem so that they can come to that idea of literary criticism. And then we do a lot of writing, and oftentimes whether that's taking notes in class or whether that is the in-class essays that they're going to take for their paper ones and paper twos. Everything we do is a focus on organization development or structuring logically their arguments. And then they have to know everything there is to know if they can about the content of the books for sure, but we're really more interested in the author's style and how, say, Harwood, the Australian poet we're working with, both uses classical and modernist features, or whatever their reading is adapted to, conventions of the novel. Beyond that, you can expect simple things from your students, because we really, really want to focus on having them work in school and not really work at home. So we try to give them very little homework, 1 hour, maybe two max during the course of a week. And again, that's a week, mostly being reading, rereading the poems, maybe rereading the novels from time to time. All we do in class are in-class essays for the assessments, and that means that they have 2-hour exams. In September, we're going to do one this week, and then we're also going to late September do another paper, or do a paper one, which is an unseen commentary. I'll explain that a little bit later. Every one of their major grades is an in-class 2-hour exam. We're prepping them for what we see as very valid, very logical, and very strong exams in May, and so we want to make sure they have as much practice in doing that as they can. You can expect feedback from me. I'm individually available for help even before school, clearly during class and during Learn, and there's going to have, each student gets the opportunity for at least one reassessment for a major assessment during each quarter. We're going to be working with Harwood's Poetry, and she's an Australian poet, for the rest of the um, for part of the first quarter. Then we're going to move on to actually a back-to-back Pulitzer Prize-winning playwright, Lynn Nottage, who wrote Sweat, and then something that's actually called a memoir slash fiction by Michael Ondaatje. He's most famous, Canadian Sri Lankan novelist, most famous for The English Patient. We already worked with Beloved and It's Fine by Me over the summer, and we had kids work on a paper 2 practice. We'll gradually come back to those texts, but this enables us to more heavily focus for the first semester on oral skills that they're going to need for the internal oral commentary and discussion, the IOCD, and then a lot of the written commentaries that they're going to write. Obviously, I just pointed out, we have the recently deceased Toni Morrison, Nobel Prize winner. Per Peterson is a Norwegian author who wrote It's Fine by Me about an angsty youth. Asley Dying, pretty much, many people are familiar with Faulkner. He's also a Nobel Prize winner. And then we have a metafictive novel, very kind of interesting mystery slash metafiction slash postmodernism with Paul Auster's City of Glass, a New York author. We use these course outcomes that your students have available to them for almost everything. You can see at the bottom that they have, if they earn a majority of A's for their homework, then they're going to earn an A for a homework, which ends up being a boost. If they don't, then they don't have any sort of grade deduction. It might say we have a concern of an F, but that doesn't mean they earn an F. But we really heavily focus on their IOP from last year plus their IOCD practice they're going to work on this year. That blind literary commentary, which is basically just one page of a novel and one poem that they have to read and analyze in 2 hours, and then a prompt-based essay, which is the paper 2, on Morrison, Peterson, Faulkner, and Auster. You can ask your students to show you these outcomes. They all have them for first quarter, and then available on the website. They can find second, third, fourth quarters. We're really proud of what we're doing here in HL2. Not only do we have the highest scores in Fairfax County, we are crushing the world average by almost a full point. You can see that the dominant number of our candidates earn a 5 or above. And for an HL class, 6s and above oftentimes offer students the opportunity to earn multiple credits in college. Sometimes colleges will accept a 5 to give kids college credit as well. So we're really proud of the work that we're doing there. The first semester they're going to do 2 mock paper 1s, and you can see up here in the upper right hand corner it's just a random page from a novel, and they're expected to apply conventions in the novel to that. Or they can choose a poem, same thing, stanzaic structure and jam it, some of the major conventions of a poem. And we work with Harwood to try to prepare them for that. But these are all what we call blind commentaries. They're also going to have 1 mock paper 2. They had it this week. And those deal with prompts that they received actually at the end of their junior year. In future paper 2s, everything will be, again, blind, meaning they won't know what the prompt is and they're going to have to apply that to their knowledge of the text. So these are really rigorous exams in this college preparatory course. The IOCD is going to be a 20-minute overall commentary and discussion, 10 minutes of a presentation on one of Harwood's poems that they will have seen in class before and we will have discussed for a portion of class, and then maybe a 2 to 4 minute kind of question and answer period where I can help to boost their marks. And then we automatically switch to Lynn Notage's play Sweat or Michael Ondaatje's memoir, Living in the Family. From there, we are going to move on to the second semester where we pick up with Faulkner. We return to Beloved and It's Fine by Me and then work with City of Glass. Again, they're going to have more opportunities to take those paper 1s, and they'll have at least 2 more mock paper 2s using all 4 of the texts. So they will have written about all 4 of the texts at least 3 times over the course of the year, and they'll probably write anywhere from 3 to 4 paper 1s as a requirement for class. They always have the opportunity to do a reassessment toward the end of the quarter. That just means they may not know their grade until the teacher work days. We heavily rely on technology. As you probably well know, Blackboard enables students to get access to their agendas, calendars, discussion boards, but also for you. And so just to kind of get out of this little slide deck, I want to show you in Blackboard, we have migrated almost fully to Google Classroom because that enables us to have dynamic pieces, dynamic documents, meaning we can change. We don't have to constantly upload. They will be using part of the discussion board when they have work on some of the plays, and then later on for running in the family. And if you need access to the syllabus or agendas or anything like that, you have these available to you there under agendas, calendars, and syllabi. What we really rely on, though, is our website. and this is only available to students within the Fairfax County Schools.net account, which is called their Google Suite for Education. And here they have examples of papers, they have resources, they have work on their written assignments. For each one of these, we also offer them practice exercises, and we actually try to work with them as much as possible in providing these resources during school so they can use them. Lastly, we rely on Google Classroom. Google Classroom allows us to have a digital assignment. You can see right here, one class is doing really well with 24 kids having turned in their written assignment that they wrote last year. So we're just trying to find it. 2 kids still need to hand that in, but they have until Friday to do that. And so we can access all of their materials there, and we know exactly when students have handed things in or when they have not handed things in. So really, what can you guys do from there? You guys can help us by helping your kids sleep. Most of these kids are not sleeping enough. That's why we've backed off on homework and really focused on day-to-day presence in school. So we really focus on the idea that we want our kids to have free time when they leave our classroom. So we're intense when we're inside that classroom. Patience with them, patience with us, patience with each other. They're going through just a lot of stress right now with their college applications, as you well know. So let's put our trust in their hands, and we can work together as a team to kind of work on what my grandmother called the GGG method. It's something that's on my license plate. Being good, giving, and gracious, something that I'm trying to work on all the time. Thanks a lot for your time, and if you have any questions, you can email me at whboos@fcps.edu. Thank you.